Hello, this is Bill Beekman, Vice President and Director of Intercollegiate Athletics. And today on MSU Today, I'm joined by the Dean of the College of Osteopathic Medicine at Michigan State University, Dr. Andy Amalfitano. Welcome to the show, Andy.
Well, thank you, Bill. I really appreciate the opportunity to be able to talk with you and have a little conversation about the college.
Yeah, so let's start out with a sort of the big picture question. And when you go to your doctor as an just sort of as a person in need of medical care, there are some doctors that have MD after their name, and there are doctors that have DO after their name, and doctors of osteopathic medicine are of the DO variety, and they come with a unique perspective. And so would you share with us a little bit about the history of osteopathic medicine, what it means to be an osteopathic physician, and how osteopathic doctors really uniquely help serve our community?
There's a couple of points to that. First, I'll start out with that the osteopathic profession is really booming right now. It's actually the fastest growing of the health professions if you compare it to like PAs or nursing or MDs. It's literally 1 in 5 graduates of a medical school right now are graduating from a DO medical school. One of those is ours. And then 1 in 4, medical students entering medical school this year in the United States is entering an osteopathic medical school. So even within that 4-year gap, it's increasing rapidly. And there's a reason for that. Why are contemporary kind of wannabe doctors wanting to become an osteopathic physician? And that primarily stems from our history and sort of philosophical tenets on how we view individuals and our longstanding, over 130-year history of, rather than treating symptoms and having people come in and treat an acute symptom and send them on their way, we really long to preserve health and prevent illness. It's what we call a holistic view to anybody who seeks us out for care. And the last thing we want to do is cause harm. And what we want to do is provide maximal benefit to anyone who seeks us out. And that's been a tenet for the late 1800s when the profession was established. It was established out of, back then there wasn't much that doctors, MD, DO had to offer anybody, but maybe some strychnine, some arsenic, a good bloodletting, maybe a quick hand with the saw. There wasn't much there. And in fact, many times docs inflicted more harm than good, because you can imagine. And so there was a doc an MD actually by the name of Dr. Andrew Still, who saw this and just kind of got fed up with the whole situation and really set out to preserve health, not incur harm, and try and just find those ways to promote spiritual wellness, overall wellness, preventing disease, and instilled in that and started the first DO medical school based on those tenets. It's morphed through the years. For example, we had for a while there our own DO hospitals, DO residencies. Now those have sort of gone by the wayside as the profession has gotten so large that it's actually merged with the greater medical institutions of the country. And that's why we have the numbers that I spoke to today. So it's really got to do with understanding that the person is not just a symptom. They're a whole person. They have a family, they have a community they interact with. And we really work hard to try and bring that at every visit 100% of the time. And that holistic view, though it's not unique to the profession, we certainly stand by it strongly.
Yeah, absolutely. It's really amazing the growth of the profession just over the last handful of decades, and we here in Michigan may not really appreciate that because the DO tradition, the tradition of osteopathy in Michigan has really sort of, at least from my perspective, been we've had a richer tradition here in Michigan maybe than in many other states. And at some level that started with the College of Osteopathic Medicine here at Michigan State being the first College of Osteopathic Medicine associated with a public university. And so we really were groundbreaking in that regard. So share with us a little bit about the college that you're responsible for the maintenance of, and what kinds of unique things we're doing in the College of Osteopathic Medicine.
Hey, Bill, it's great to bring that out. Yeah, Michigan's been very welcoming to the osteopathic profession. And Michigan State in particular should take great pride because those numbers I gave you about the rapid rise in the profession, if you look back, 1969 was the year that started to really escalate. It had been fairly stagnant for half a century. And it was because of this university's faith in our college that the whole profession took off. So we do a number of things. So we've been here 50 years now. We just celebrated our 50-year anniversary. And we have about 7,000 alumni, of which, at last count, about 65 to 70%, depending on how you want to cut that, actually practice in the state of Michigan. And the majority of those graduates are in primary care. So, pediatrics, family practice, internal medicine. If you want to add on psychiatry, even emergency room medicine, many times our docs are out in rural areas providing primary care. And so those are the two big, I would say, evidence of our success in the state of Michigan. That, in fact, if you look at us compared to most other medical schools in the state, those numbers we lead or are close to leaders. We really pride ourselves on, our class is primarily derived from students from the state of Michigan and a heavy influx from Michigan State. And so what we do is we capitalize on that, and these individuals want to go back to their communities and practice that type of medicine that we espouse. And so it's been a beautiful sort of synergy there where we can send our graduates back into the communities and take care of everybody in the state of Michigan as best we can. And I think that's a huge legacy that we're going to continue with. The other one is we've graduated more doctors, let's say, since 2014 who self-identify as a minority. Again, than any other med school in the state based on public data. And so we're trying to, and we got a long way to go on this. I'm not saying that we've got an answer, but we pride ourselves in trying to meet that challenge as well. And so we're going to be stepping up to that in the coming years, and hopefully we'll be able to even broaden that capacity. So those are the main things, is supplying, sort of like the proverbial land grant mission of this university to serve the people of Michigan. And I can't think of a better way than providing them physicians to help in that.
Well, and I've always thought that one of the interesting aspects of both of our medical schools is that we don't have a hospital, a university-owned, university-run hospital, and so our medical students are then required to go into community hospitals for that component of their medical school education that is really that's once you get past the classroom-based activities, that is the hands-on part of medical education. And so on the in the College of Osteopathic Medicine, you've got a statewide campus system, a consortium of hospitals that really allow our students to practice all over the state of Michigan. And so we're impacting not just people here in East Lansing or the greater Lansing community, but points all across the state. So share with us a little bit about how that model works and how it impacts so many lives.
It's wonderful for a couple of reasons. Even though at first you might think, well, we don't have a university-based hospital per se for our students. But what it turns out, we have 23 hospitals, for example, that our students in our college can advantage themselves of as they enter their clinic, what we call the clinical years, the third and fourth years of medical school, where you're really out seeing patients and taking care of them full time. And those locations are throughout the state, and they afford our students the ability to choose a locale, a rural area, a suburban area, hybrid area, urban areas. We're all over the place. And so students can already in those third and fourth years start crafting their career path and get exposed to the type of medicine and patients and venue and environments that they'll encounter once they go out and graduate early on, and they can make those decisions very informed at an early stage. So we have, on top of that, and this speaks to what I spoke to earlier about our graduates staying in the state of Michigan, we have an even broader umbrella called our statewide campus system. This is a network that involves 40 hospitals, okay? All the ones I just talked about, then an additional. And within this framework, when you graduate from medical school, you go into a residency or fellowship program and you specialize in peds or surgery or orthopedics or genetics or whatever it is. We have 2,000 residents and fellows distributed over those 40 sites in the state of Michigan. That's an incredible network that we have established, and that it took 50 years to get here. But with that, our students continue to then pick out areas that they can still stay affiliated with the college, and also learn about what's available throughout the state. And as they get comfortable in those networks, I'm convinced that's why they stay in the state of Michigan. Because I know it's not the weather. I mean, the weather is something, but it's really got more to do with establishing these networks of comfort and knowing that you've got support, and these systems are waiting for you. That has really grown this through the years. So it's quite an opportunity. And I'll tell you, in the era of COVID, I am aware of other hospitals and medical schools in the nation that have had trouble with their students. You can imagine if you were dependent on one hospital and that hospital shuts down because of COVID or can't take students because they can't educate them. What a shame that is. Well, we were able to pivot. We had 23 hospitals to choose from. And, we pulled back momentarily during those critical months in March and April. But quickly, all of our hospitals partners were able to bring those students back and get them back learning so that they could graduate on time. I mean, I can't think of a worse thing than during the pandemic. You can't train physicians to graduate and treat people. And luckily, with that network in place, we were able to do that.
That really is incredible. So we've talked a little bit about the student experience and our academic mission in the college, and a little bit about your clinical activity. But I think one of the real differentiators of the College of Osteopathic Medicine here at Michigan State is your research activity, and one of the symbols or one of the sort of key components of that, maybe is a better way to put it, is the DO PhD program. So explain what a DO PhD program is, what kind of people that produces, and what they do for the benefit of society.
Well, it's great. I happen to have a conflict of interest here because I am a graduate of MSU's DO PhD program. But in a nutshell, let me back up a little bit. The profession, because of its heavy, notions on entering primary care and rural health, has not participated in biomedical research to the extent probably that our MD colleagues have through the years. It's just, the profession focuses on primary care, and if you look across primary care, that's true. So being at MSU, it's sitting on top of a Big Ten university, allows our college to advantage ourselves of this, top 70, research institution in the world, if not the universe. And so we want to promote research every opportunity we get. And so our students get access to any research activities. But for those students who seek a more specialized and intense focus on research, we developed this DO PhD program, which is, I don't want to say how old it is, but I was one of the early graduates of it. And what it is you simultaneously get your DO medical degree while you undertake a PhD program, traditional PhD program. It can be anywhere from cell molecular biology, genetics. We even have anthropology PhDs. That's the breadth of who we want to teach at this level. These individuals now will get out they will get their medical experience and bring that research expertise to bear on contemporary medical problems that are facing us today. And I firmly believe that that osteopathic holistic view is of incredible benefit in this area as well. Not losing the forest for the trees, if you will. Not zeroing in down to something such minutia or whatever you want to describe it, that all of a sudden, yeah, that's true, but what impact does it have on society or the patients we see? We hope that this kind of philosophy can pervade even the research endeavors of the students. So we have graduates in all these various programs going out and populating the other med schools in the country, becoming researchers and academicians as well with their clinical activities, several of which are at, we get them to come back to MSU as well. So it's a program we're proud of. We want to expand it. And it's just that at MSU, we have the capacity to have this is a large program. We have about 50 students in the program right now. This is large across the nation, not just locally. And we're committed to this. And we're fortunate that Michigan State supports us in this in all kinds of ways. Other colleges we interact with, et cetera.
Well, I think that's one of the really great aspects of being part of a Big Ten university is the breadth that we have and the strength that we have in so many of the basic sciences that grew out of our College of Natural Sciences, literally over 100 years ago, that between the College of Natural Science, the College of Osteopathic Medicine, the College of Human Medicine, the College of Veterinary Medicine, the College of Nursing, you've got a sort of health sciences sector that really can play upon the strengths of each one of those units for the betterment of all. And that's really one of the great things about Michigan State and the collaborative nature of our institution. So your day job is being dean, and that's probably enough job for 3 or 4 lifetimes, truth be told. But I understand that every now and again you get to sneak back to your first passion, which is, as you say, with your DO PhD training, is as a researcher. And as I understand it, your research is being used to develop some vaccine platforms that will hopefully have an impact in cancer treatment, as well potentially as the current COVID-19 pandemic. So tell us a little bit about that research and what you're doing.
Oh, well, thanks for asking. It actually stems from my, so I bleed as green as white as anybody. I did my undergraduate at MSU in microbiology. I did my PhD, my DO degree here. And very early on, I had a notion, how can we harness viruses and use them as potential medicine? I mean, that was really, my sort of neophyte view at the time, way back then. I shared that with many faculty during my training. And went on and in my laboratory work, actually developed a virus that we inactivated. It's a common cold virus. And we kind of took the DNA out of that virus. And now we can engineer it to produce any protein or antigen we want. That's now been taken by several companies, and they've been using it primarily as an immune vaccine platform. And for example, we can, in cancer patients, started about 20 or 30 different clinical trials targeting the most brutal of cancers: pancreatic cancer, GI cancer, metastatic colon cancer. And what we do is we take this virus and we put genetic information into the virus that then is delivered into these cancer patients, and it trains the immune system to attack the cancers that these individuals possess. And that is seeing some, it's moving into phase 3 studies right now, which is just on the verge of being licensed. So, cross your fingers that but one thing we did prove is it's extremely safe. We could give doses of this vaccine, this cancer vaccine, to prove we could stimulate these immune responses. So with that, when COVID-19 hit, one of the companies pivoted and actually, swapped the DNA out and put in COVID-19 information into our vaccine platform, manufactured that up, and we're actually, that company is now in late phase 1 studies, testing it for its efficacy to prevent COVID-19. And a couple of unique aspects of this. I mean, I wanted to use this virus early on because I knew it could be scaled, to hundreds of millions if necessary. We preserve that, but it actually can be produced in a tablet. You can actually what's called lyophilize this. You dehydrate it and then put it into a tablet. And so, in fact, this study is looking at the tablet form of this vaccine for COVID-19, which is, you've heard a lot about, needing to refrigerate vaccines. Well, tablets, you can ship those anywhere. The other thing is that the particular flavor of vaccine we've developed, that this company has developed, is targeting 2 different aspects of COVID-19. You've heard a lot about the spike protein, but there's another protein called the nuclear protein, NP, and this vaccine has enough capacity to target both. So we think, I think that it will be useful should these, these new variants you're hearing about that may evade existing immunity, this platform may come in and mop up, if you will, and prevent that. So that's where that stands right now. It all evolved out of some, my undergraduate days at MSU pondering, can we take a virus and turn it into a medicine? And, it happened.
Well, that's a great message for the young people that might be listening, that sometimes as young people, you get what you might feel like is a crazy idea, and but if you have some stick-to-itiveness and continue to learn and grow, and in your case, become a researcher, then those things can come about and potentially change the world.
Well, we're hoping, and we're not the only ones working on this, but I really do feel that MSU gave me the confidence to pursue these things. You have to have the right training to feel confident in then chasing this stuff. And, I'll never look back with regret. It was a great experience, and I love moving forward on this.
Yeah, no, it's quite extraordinary. So to wrap up, the College of Osteopathic Medicine here at Michigan State and the osteopathic profession itself are really in a great place, and growing and helping greater and greater numbers of people across our society. What do you see as the future of the College of Osteopathic Medicine? What's on the horizon for the college?
Well, a number of things. I think more of the same, because these are great things. We want to continue our focus on primary care, and our students' desire to pursue that. But we certainly can train for those who want to specialize out in surgical specialties or even more specialized. I think a big goal is continuing to address this issue of lack of diversity in the medical profession. If you just look at the numbers across the nation, the number of physicians that come from underrepresented minority populations is inadequate. It's a long-standing institutional problem. Racism has contributed to that. I love being dean, but I can only do so much. But what I can do is make sure that our college is a welcoming place that we can attract the best and brightest and a diverse student body, because we get knowledge from that. Diverse experiences empowers our entire curriculum. And so I really see our college really going after trying to be inclusive increasingly to just graduate that type of a doctor that has that perspective. And so we will stay true to that. On top of that, I think our research, we want to expand that and really step it up. And I want us to capitalize on the statewide campus system in particular, you noted. With our access educationally to 40 hospitals, that's quite a catchment area. And we think that through this network, we can start addressing community-wide medical issues in research, things affecting the communities, diabetes, obesity, hypertension, the opioid crisis. Some of these things can only be answered by looking at large populations. The laboratory will not yield the answer that impacts the entire society. And so we're looking at ways how we can harness this educational network and craft it into a research network. And so that's another area of I hope we can expand. So those are two of the major ones. We continue with our clinical activities in East Lansing and beyond that. We continue with our affiliations with all of our hospital systems. I want to see those grow, and I want these hospitals to know that their future physicians are coming from our med school. So they have a vested interest in making sure we continue in this path. And I want them to understand that we appreciate their partnerships, and going forward, we want to facilitate that as well. So I think more of the same with some highlights.
That's great. So today we've been joined by the Dean of the College of Osteopathic Medicine at Michigan State University, Dean Andy Amalfitano. And Andy, I will close with one brief question. We've talked at great length about the college, a little bit about your personal research interests, but I'm hopeful that at least a little bit of time during the week you can find some time to not spend on work-related things. So what things do you do, what things do you enjoy doing in your off time?
Oh boy, it's kind of tough with COVID-19, and unfortunately I like cooking. It's the Italian gene in me. So I do that a lot. I don't know if you know, my dad owned a pizzeria. I mean, when they came from Italy, that's what they started. And so I really learned how to work in those venues of restaurants. And so I enjoy doing that. So I just got to, keep a lid on it sometimes because it can get out of control. But I enjoy that. And hopefully when COVID-19 will we'll turn the corner on this and we'll get back to normal. I like traveling and visiting various areas. So, but those are the two main things.
Sounds good. Well, Andy, thank you so much for joining us today. It's been great having an opportunity to learn a little bit more about the College of Osteopathic Medicine and what you do as its dean. And we will look forward to great things to come.
Great. Thanks, Phil. Thanks for the opportunity. I really appreciate all you do.